Good afternoon, everybody. This is Gwen with CraftyLadyDesigns.com. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. And for my Mother's Day gift, I'm going to get to craft all day, and I can't hardly stand it. Um, I'm going to make a tag, a large tag. It's 5 by 10. I'm making it on lightweight cardboard, and I'm showing you here just a few of the samples of the products I'm going to use. All the products can be purchased at scrapadabadoo.com's online craft store. I may use some embellishments from my stash, however, not very many. I'm going to use Graphic 45's Seashore, or By the Sea collection, I'm sorry, By the Sea collection. I've made a shadow box out of this particular collection. I absolutely love it, and it's been very popular. And so I decided today to make a large tag. You're going to need, of course, the paper collection, which is By the Sea. I have some chipboard pieces that correlate with the collection. You'll need a bone folder. This is the Teflon bone folder that you can buy at scrapadabadoo.com. They're absolutely wonderful. They don't make your paper shiny. If you score something, you make a mistake, you can almost erase it out. So they're really great. I'm going to use score tape, of course a craft knife and scissors. I'm going to use distressed inks, and I'm going to use Vintage Photo. I think Vintage Photo complements Graphic 45 paper lines very well. Not all of them, of course, but most of them. And there's a lot of red in this paper, and etc. So that's the ink of choice is Antique Photo, Vintage Photo. I'm sorry, Vintage Photo. Now I've already cut out my tag, and as I say, it's 5 by 10, and I have taken my crocodile, and not my crocodile, but my Memories Keeper's corner punch, and have cut off the corners. So let's get started. I'm going to set everything back out of the way. I've already torn out a piece of paper to use. I'm going to use this particular paper first. I'm going to do a lot of layering. I'm going to use this one first, then I'm going to take this one and tear some off and add on top of that and let this paper peek through, because I love the color and whatever, but it's pretty busy to put other embellishments on. I adhere my papers. I start out with score tape around the outer perimeter of the project, and then I take, closing down those corners where it has been corner punched or cut or whatever. Then I take, because I like my the body of my projects, whatever it is, on chipboard or on an album cover, I like them real secure. I don't have bubbles in them. And I used to use liquid glue for this, but I don't any longer. And I have the half-inch ATG gun, the 700, but I also have the quarter-inch, and it's pretty stiff tape, quite frankly. I check the edges to make sure they're all turned over. I'm not going to wrap this tag. I usually do not wrap the tags. I do wrap a lot of my book covers. I'm going to place this on our paper and press it down, rub it real well, and I sometimes take a brayer, go over it to get a good stick, and so there's no bubbles. And especially if you use liquid glue, you can use whatever you like. I just like the score tape. Take my craft knife, and then I'm just going to cut along the side, cut it out. The craft knife does a great job with this, and you can just cut along the side. You really don't need your ruler. Oops, cut in my chipboard. I didn't do that. Okay, Go along this side. I always leave a little bit so I can get it really close and make sure it's the paper is bedded up, and it's just a sliver coming off there, as you can see. Hope everybody's having a great Mother's Day, Aunt's Day, Grandma's Day, whatever. Now I'm going to take my sanding block and just bevel around the edge. And when I get the other, I'm also certainly going to cover the back as well. I haven't decided. I don't have a plan. I don't have a model, if you will, on what I'm going to do. Now I'm going to take this and I'm going to, as I say, I want to cover, I like this really, really well, but it's just too busy to put a lot of embellishments on to show up. So this this paper here will give a lighter, less cluttered background. Now I'm going to take and tear down this side. And I want to tear it this way. If you tear it the other way, then if you tear it like this, oh, you can't see, tear it like this or like this. That depends on whether you get this raw edge. I want this white raw edge to show. And I'm going to lay this on top like so. And then I'm going, because at least this side is going to show, and then this side will be more. So I'm going to turn this over, and I'm going to lay it down here. And there again, I need to mark to see where to put my tape. Do it this way. Let's put this on here so I know. I'm marking it with my fingernail along the side. Could use my bone folder as well. And when I turn that over, I can see my marks pretty well. I think I'm going to cut that out. I'm going to cut that out. Approximately. And then I can kind of feel where that groove is. It doesn't have to be perfect, but just because there's no definite area that I'm covering. And when I lay it back down like so, that's perfect. That's great. Now, then I can put my score tape on this particular piece, which is easier to do because I can see where it's going to fit. I hope I've been paying attention to this. I hope I've been, now this, I may, it's a little harder. I may run some liquid glue, excuse me, so I have the edges, so I know I have the edges covered. After I get it. Now I'm going to take my my craft knife and I'm just going to go trim this off. Okay. taking off the score tape backing, removing the backing. Then I'm going to go back again with my ATG and fill in the center and the very, very edge, the very, very torn edge. Oh, and before I do this, I want to take and I want to put some, oh, hello, thank you. Put some ink on the torn edge here. And as I say, not every design or paper collection of Graphic 45 is. I'll go back after I finish this. Not every paper collection Graphic 45 lends itself to the vintage photo, but it's just kind of my preference, quite frankly. Okay, now I'm going to start here in the corner, match up my corners in my bottom, and I'm going to lay this down along the edge very carefully and kind of go this way. I think I've got a bubble. I do. Great. I've got to pull that back. Not going to be too hard. I haven't got it burnished. I do this so much, I swear. There we go. Oh dear. Oh no, I didn't. There we go. There we go. Okay. Now it's nice and flat, and you can see where it's been torn along that edge. Now I'm going to go back and I'm going to trim up with my across this end is all I think I have to trim. The angle end. The rest of it looks pretty good. Clean up my mess a little bit here. Okay, now I'm going to go back with the vintage photo along the other side, the other edges, and all the way around to make sure it's covered. Okay, and there is the beginning of our tag with the torn paper and the two different papers layered. Okay, now what are we going to do? I don't know. This is such a pretty collection. I want to tie in the blues. I love the lighthouse. I'm going to go back into the collection, see what cut-aparts we have, because we have a lot of, we have the By the Sea Lighthouse, which I'm going to use. On my shadow box, I use the girl, which I love. And then there's also the little boy. I like that too. The little boy, make a wish on a starfish. Is that too cute? And of course here is a smooth sea never makes a skilled sailor. That's cute. And then here's the By the Sea Lighthouse. I think I'm going to cut this out and use the By the Sea Lighthouse. I don't think I'm going to fussy cut it all out, which I thought about, but I don't think I'm going to. I think I'm going to cut out the whole piece. We are close. I don't want to do that. I want to do this. Try to so you can see better. I'm going to cut out the whole piece. I'm going to mount it on a chipboard to give it some dimension. And I'm going to take my craft knife, cut around this. I'm going to cut around all of it, the blue and all, but I I may trim that down. I'm not sure until I get it laid out. I love this paper. I just love the paper. Trim all around the outer perimeter. I want to see how it fits size-wise on our, and I'm going to just put it on the chipboard edge to edge. I'm not going to leave a border with the chipboard. This one just a little crooked. Trim this down. There we go. Okay. There's our lighthouse. It's so pretty. And here are the 3 stamps. Now I think I will also cut these stamps out that match, put them on chipboard, and build it up with some dimension as well. So let's see how that fits. Okay. I think I'm going to cut the dark, I think I'm going to cut the dark blue off to here to make it a little smaller. Not that I don't like that outer trim, I do, but I think it's just a little too big for the front of our tag. Not that our tag is small, because it isn't. So we're taking it down to the white. You can always take off, you can't put back on, and I've done that many times. I'm going to do, or try to do, a Ustream program for Scrap-A-Dab-A-Doo. We're going to have 4 of our designers do a kickoff to our streaming. I'm not involved. I will be there, and I will have projects to show, but I will not be doing the streaming. 4 of our other designers will be, because they certainly have done them before, and they have streaming programs. So, okay, yes, I like that better, because we'll embellish around that, and as I said, I'm going to put it on chipboard, give it some more dimension. Before I do that, I'm going to ink the edges all the way around. Do not like white edges on anything, even if you have something you don't really want to distress, and very lightly take something and go around with white edges. I think it just pops everything out and makes it look better. There we go. Now, excuse me a minute, I've got to turn around. I'm going to get me a piece, and that's not going to work. Oh, yes. Okay, here's the chipboard I'm using for the tag, excuse me, is a lightweight chipboard. So I'm going to put this on the chipboard, the same as I've put everything else on. As I say, I want it to be nice and stable. This chipboard is a lightweight, not a real thick chipboard. I don't know what the size is, but I have heavier. And my heavier is about, I think, 1/16 of an inch. This is about 3/4 of that. You can cut this one with scissors. The other I use all the time, you cannot cut with scissors. You have to cut with I have a rotary trim, but I usually cut it with my craft knife. Going back and trim up the score tape. I used to always cut my score tape, and I don't, for a long time, it goes faster. I just tear it, and then I go back and kind of trim it up if there's a problem. There's a hangover. Okay, now I'm going to, as I say, do the same thing. I'm going to run my ATG. Okay, then I'm going to place it right on the edge as close as I can. It's almost the same size, but not quite. Okay, there we go. My house is not falling down, if you heard that. My husband's upstairs doing, I don't know what. Then I'm going to cut this off at the bottom, and of course up the side. There's about 1/8 of an inch along the side, but this was the part. This is an 8.5 by 11 piece of chipboard, and I cut my 5 by 10 piece off of it, and that's virtually what I had left up the side. There we go. So there we have it mounted on our chipboard. It gives it more stability as well, and then it gives it some dimension. I'm going to again take my little sanding block, bevel the edges a little bit, and it also helps when you do the distressing the ink. It kind of makes it a little deeper and a little richer, I think. It looks better after you do a little sanding. You don't have to do a lot. Just go across and kind of bevel the edge. Now this is where we're going to put this. I think we're going to kind of put it off center to the right edge, like so, because I'll embellish around it. We'll put a hole there for various things. We're going to break the at 21, almost 22 minutes. We're going to break the video, and I will be back. This is part 1 of the tag by the C tag, and I will come back with part 2. Thank you very much. See you in a minute.